This podcast is also an ambassador for Genie. As some may know, I had Alex Kuna, the Chief Marketing Officer of Genie, on my podcast in episode 3. Genie is a service that I love, and I don't think I would have gotten through my second year at university without using Genie. Genie cuts research time in half and is a lifesaver. I have a 14-day free trial in my show notes, and if you're still not sure, give episode 3 a listen. I guarantee you will agree with me. Welcome back to the Consistency Theory podcast. It's really been a while. I've been super busy with uni and a whole load of other awesome opportunities I've been trying to juggle alongside time to talk to interesting people on the podcast. But today we're back with a packed episode on crypto, investing in the stock market crashes, and useful advice for those in their 20s from Mr. Paul Briscoe. Paul is a traditional investor aiming to become financially free through dividend investing alongside his job. Paul knows his stuff and also knows how to share it on his YouTube channel, where he's very, very transparent about his own portfolio and his own personal journey. Most interestingly, we talk about how investing in your 20s starts you on the road to success. I hope you enjoy and check out Paul in the links below.
Hello, anyone, whoever's listening. My name's Paul Briscoe. I have a YouTube channel, which I started about probably 2 years ago now. It was probably a year and a bit ago. Kind of about finance and stocks and things like that, personal finance and stocks. And it's nothing, I'm not an expert. I'll put that out straight away. I'm not an expert. The channel is all designed about me learning about stocks and learning about personal finance and kind of having that door open to me, that sort of Plato's allegory of the cave sort of thing. That's just, I've just woken up and I've gone, oh, sorry, I was going to swear there. I swear a lot. So
That's fine, it's fine. You can swear on it, it's fine.
I'm trying to improve myself because I used to swear loads and some people like it, some people hate it. But
That's cool here. So we want to know, I don't mind.
Just kind of opened up and it was, I've just started saving loads of money, and it's all about my channel is all about my story to try and build as much generational wealth as I can. And whether people agree with the way I do it or not is not the question. It's actually just opening up and learning about personal finance.
That's perfect. And also you are probably, I don't know if you hit it already, but you're pretty close to hitting 20k on YouTube now, aren't you?
Yeah, maybe. Damien from Damien Talks Money told me I was pretty close to. I don't check, if I'm honest.
No,
and I'm a bit slow at the moment because I'm trying to create a couple of little businesses. So I don't want to have YouTube as my main source of income or anything like that. I earn a tiny amount. I really don't earn much. It's about 200 quid a month, something like that, from YouTube. I really don't earn much, and I'm not trying to. Swearing, which I do a lot on my channel, really knocks your earning potential on YouTube, and I really don't give a shit, don't care about that. So really, I'm just trying to. I'm doing some things at the moment where I'm going to incorporate them into the channel to show people what I'm doing, but maybe trying to create some businesses and maybe try and generate some other wealth and have more time, because time's very, very important. A lot of people do focus on the savings and growing income, but time's our most important resource, and I'm really turning towards that part at the moment.
Would you say the whole reason you kind of invest, the whole goal is to kind of save yourself time in the future? Just you've got, say you invest, you get enough money to kind of live off that, saving you time, so you don't have to go and you kind of make them work optional. Is that kind of the goal for you?
Absolutely. Everyone talks about the FIRE movement, financial freedom, financial independence, retire early.
Yes.
I lean towards what we call financial freedom, or even work optional, because I don't ever plan on retiring, even at the age of 60, 70. I plan on doing something, because I've seen a lot of people, particularly at my work. I'm a paramedic, particularly at my work. I see people get to 60 or 65, they stop working and then they die. They literally die like a year or two later. And they've got these great pensions and things, and they thought they were going to ride off into the sunset. And without getting too political, I think we're being taught that this world is about that. Is we work and work and work till we're 65, and then there's this magical place at 65 where we go and we just look at the sunset across the sea and we enjoy going out and drinking. But the truth is, and believe me, as a paramedic, I see it every single day. People don't get there. Like, a lot of people don't get there. Age really starts to break you down. A lot of this is very depressing, but people start to get broken down, and they don't get to do all the amazing things that they said they would. Like at 20, 30 for me, I want to go snowboarding everywhere. I want to jump out of planes or whatever I can do. At that age, I might not be able to do it if I have worked myself to death the whole time. So my whole thing at the moment is work optional, because I'll always work. I'll always concentrate on something, but that's the point where I want to get. Even to the point right now where I've been working 48 hours a week for God knows how long. It's I'm just looking at the screen now. It's really starting to show. And now maybe if I can come away, or I can create a different way of working, maybe I can take some of that time back, and maybe think about only working 2 days a week. That way I generate some form of financial freedom, which allows me to. I mean, I don't know how old you are. How old are you, Jake?
I'm 22.
22. So you haven't got a fucking. You haven't got a clue. Oh man, I always think back, and we got that Discord. We've got a Discord. It's got about 2,000 members on there, and it's got a right mix of people. It's got 18-year-olds. I saw an 18-year-old on there today with a £12,000 portfolio, and I was like, "Oh my god, £12,000 at 18,
Jesus,
just mind blowing." I was going, "You are going to be a millionaire. It's just that's what's going to happen." And then you've got, people my age as well who are all just jealous. But they all have the stories of, I wish I'd started investing early. I wish I'd thought about my financial freedom early, because the truth is, the longer you allow it to happen, the easier it is to do. You can talk about, I don't know how much you know about investing or anything like that, but Charlie Munger, one of the famous ones, is don't interrupt compounding. Compounding is so important. Just multiplying year on year, and eventually 40 years, spending 100 quid will get you £1 million, and that you'll happily be able to live off that. And it's
have you have you always kind of had that mindset? What was there a turning point somewhere that kind of flipped you from the opposite of what you were saying to how you are now?
No, absolutely not. And that's the reason why I've started this whole journey, because I'm trying to do it from the age of 35, I think I am. And I'm trying to do that now because I didn't have the education when I was younger, and my parents aren't financially literate in any way. And they are starting to struggle now, or at least they don't know that they're starting to struggle, but they will pretty soon. And I need to avoid that. I would like to have those skills to pass on to my kids. I've got 2 kids, and I think there is a way. And if you know it early, because 22, man, it's just doing a podcast at 22 and and having interest in personal finance. It's just, if you can stick to it and you can be disciplined, history shows, or statistics show, that you're going to be so well off. It's just crazy. And I've even calculated now, I can do it by the age of 50. I could, if I keep at it, I'd be able to retire. Become work optional. Yeah. So even at 35, I could do it in 15 years. The calculations are there. At 22, it just makes it easier. Or you can just knock off a little bit early or something like that. That is what it is, though. At 22, you've got time. You do have time to, I don't know, go out and get pissed with your mates, stuff like that. And I don't. Like, honestly, I don't. My life is literally go to work, come home, look after kids, and that's not a bad thing. Like, because they're great and everything. They're really funny. But every now and then, you just want to go out and get pissed, and you ain't got time to do that. It's a bit of a shame.
Sure.
You being at uni and stuff like that, third year, probably not so much. And sorry, you've already told me you're a sports science student. You've probably more interested in health and fitness, especially with the trends.
No, trust me, mate. I've probably got two nights lined up this weekend, so we'll get them in early. So it's all good.
Good. It's great because uni was fun and everything, and I did the whole thing. It's just, do I have regrets that I didn't become more financially literate? That I didn't think about it? I don't think I don't think it was open to me. I don't think the option was open to me. My education just wasn't there. I don't come from a particularly poor family. I mean, we didn't grow up in a brilliant area, but they didn't have the education, and there was no one willing to pass that on to me. And I've found that people who do have those people in their life, I was speaking to somebody on Instagram the other day, I can't mention the name, but they were messaging me saying they had an uncle who was very into the stock market and got them into it when they were 18. They're now 30 and they are doing ridiculously well. And if you've got those people in your life, then you're probably going to do pretty well. But maybe I'd love it if we could maybe spread this out to a lot of people one day and just inform people. But then I guess if many people know about it, the system would change. Maybe. Yeah,
well, the whole reason I've kind of been during, I think it was during the lockdown, maybe April time last year, I was I was trading with Trading 212, the paper account where they just give you a crap ton of money, fake money, and you can just kind of mess around with it. I can't remember who put me onto that, to be honest. I'm pretty sure it was the internet, because both my parents aren't very investment savvy, I would say. So it was literally just, it was probably YouTube, to be honest. I was probably just scrolling through YouTube, and it was just some kind of thumbnail that caught my eye. Then it's almost like a rabbit hole that just never ends. You just keep going all the way down.
Totally.
It is, for sure. And then literally, as soon as I was kind of confident enough, I saved up some money from my part-time job and just kind of decided what stock am I going to go into. I kind of made it all proper, went into the proper investing account, the ISA account. And I've got quite a few stocks now mainly in the S&P 500. And a few other ones as well. And it's just kind of, I just kind of look at videos and TikTok and stuff now, just more knowledge and stuff. I mean, reaching out to you as well. I watch your videos on your analysis and everything like that.
Oh, wow. That's good. I still don't think anyone watches them. I'm amazed that anybody watches them. It's like whenever someone new comes into my life and just says, "Oh, I've seen you on the video," I was like,
"You're like, whoa,
really? Oh, really? You saw that?"
It's crazy. It's
kind of weird. It's kind of weird. And
I mean, the whole thing as well that's kind of interesting me is that personal finance and financial freedom is almost kind of like buzzwords now, kind of on TikTok and stuff. You see, I don't know how much you're on TikTok or Instagram, you see all these, if you kind of push aside all the people who've got like the Shopify stores and whatever else, there are people out there just kind of talking a lot about personal finance, a lot more than they would have done a couple of years ago, which I think is great for more people to get into. Which is how I got into it, and that's what I'm doing every month.
Yeah,
every
I was
week.
listening to an interview with Mark Cuban the other day, and he was, because I'm not on TikTok. I get what it is, but I don't know how it's communicating with the world properly at the moment. I'm on Reels. I do watch a lot of Reels, but for me as a 35-year-old male, it seems to just spam me with like 15-year-old girls dancing. I don't understand what that is all about. I haven't got a fucking clue. Why are they sending me these videos? It must be because I just hang on them too long. And that sort of shows something about my personal behavior, unfortunately. But I don't get many of those financial TikTok type videos.
It's more just the, it's all the algorithm stuff. So if you hang on a video for a while, it will suggest more and more and more. But I've had TikTok for a couple of years now, and I still get really randy videos. But you do get some really good stuff on there, if I'm completely honest. But I mean, I didn't download the app to be taught about investing and ISAs and everything like that. But Yeah, for sure.
Well, yeah. Apparently, I hang around too long on girls dressed as Pikachu's or something. So I haven't got a fucking clue what's going on there. But it on Instagram Reels particularly it is quite good. And what Mark Cuban was saying the other day was that younger people, probably below 22, probably more like 18 and 16, are consuming knowledge in a totally different way now. We used to do it through books and textbooks and TV, and we were allowed, basically, the TV told us what we were allowed to know at that time. But now TikTok and YouTube as well. He did say YouTube was a big one, but even TikTok, you can invest in ByteDance or something like that, because the news and the information is now being delivered in like these tiny, really quick ways, which just detail, maybe not in enough detail in some cases, but in most cases, just detail enough to get you to know that this is how compounding works. I can describe to you in 15 seconds how compounding works. And I go, that's pretty damn good. Like if that's teaching a 14-year-old how to save money for the long term, as long as that message goes in your head properly. And I believe that psychology is a big part of investing in personal finance. So you need to be really disciplined. As long as you get that in your head, I think that's got to be gold dust. That has, isn't it, that information.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, with TikTok, it's probably the maximum you can do that. Before it was like the maximum was about 30 seconds. So that's not a lot of time to explain any concept, really.
Yeah, and one of my big problems at the moment, and I get emails every single day about it, just advertising emails for random cryptos, real shot in the dark cryptos, and I wonder how much of that is on TikTok. Because I mean, even on Discord the other day, Casper was put on that he's seeing crypto adverts on the tube, like real, like obscure altcoins are getting adverts on the tube, and you're going, oh my God, this is a bubble. This is a huge damn bubble, and everyone's going for it. And I wonder how much there is of that on TikTok. I bet there is absolutely loads.
Yeah,
and I'm not saying I'm against crypto. I freaking love crypto, but it's just those really shady altcoins that people are pushing. I can't agree with that in any way.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we've got a whole couple of questions about crypto, but I'll ping some more questions down here, and then we can get down the rabbit hole of crypto, because is a very deep rabbit hole. So anyway, you talked about in your videos that would you kind of describe yourself as a traditional investor?
In some ways, in some ways not. So I started, we call it dividend investing. I started in that way, and that for me is my introduction. I would love to be able to invest in index funds, because I feel that they are the safest or most predictable way of earning money in the stock market. You buy and you continue buy, and hopefully it will generate somewhere between 4 and 12% a year. And eventually you'll be rich, and you don't never have to think about it because you're buying all the top broad-based index funds, and that's great. For me, I worry about my discipline in that case, and I worry that it won't be interesting enough for me to continue investing, because the most important part of investing is invest a lot and continuously invest, and don't sell. That's the bottom line of investing, basically, according to the stats, is people lose money or don't gain as much money when they sell or they don't consistently invest. Chasing returns generally leads to very poor performance, no matter how good you pick on your stocks. You can pick Tesla and sell out too early, and you won't make as good a return as the S&P 500. It's very simple as that. As far as investing goes, I chose this dividend investment model because I felt like it was still buying into stocks, but there was more of a predictable kind of lower risk. It's not necessarily lower risk, but it felt more predictable than buying into speculation and other stocks like that. So I look at their cash flow. I try to look at a company's cash flow and see how much they're actually producing. And that's my aim, is to invest in companies that are producing lots of cash, and I can make a guesstimate of how valuable they are and then try to pay the right price. Obviously, there's other ways of doing it that I love doing and stuff. I think they're like, if you saw Tesla like a year ago, oh my God, you'd have just done amazingly. And it was probably the right decision. Probably 2 years ago, Tesla would have been a great buy, because there's also the other side of it. So my side is I try and buy companies at lower value than their current cash flows. But obviously, if you can see into the future and you can see a great growth model like what Tesla is, you would be able to see that this company was undervalued. Right now, a little bit of a different story, in my opinion. That will be, lots of people will have different opinions, but I just don't see how they're going to make 85,000 grand per car in 2030 and to produce the 1 trillion valuation it's got right now. It just, the risk basis, because it's all about risk. We're trying to decide whether we can, if it's risky enough to get a good reward from this stock. And if you're finding something which is, Peloton is my biggest bugbear at the moment. People have invested way too high into that, in my opinion. And what you're doing is you're spending way too much money to buy this company for the amount of cash it's going to produce in 30 years. And unfortunately, it might not even produce the amount that they're thinking it is right now. And what you're trying to do is buy companies cheaper than that. Find companies that people haven't seen yet, or people haven't, or it's believed that the market has got it wrong on those companies, and probably just waffling there to try. There's a lot of information there to try and condense into a couple of sentences on that one. Yeah,
I mean, it's how would you go about, say you want to find a new stock to add to your portfolio? How long would it take, and what would you kind of do to kind of screen some stocks and kind of initially kind of run down loads that you would want to go into?
Yeah, I'll keep it really, really simple because it can get really complicated. First of all, it takes me ages. It can take me months to get into a stock. At first, it took me probably hours, and I was just kind of going at it. I was buying Beyond Meat and stuff like that at the first. And, well, they're not necessarily great, like bad stocks. I didn't do as much, didn't gain as much information as I used to, and I certainly didn't understand it as much as I did. But now it's more about cash. So what I'm trying to look for at its most basic level, remember that's really, really basic, is looking at how much cash, how much free cash flow a company will be developing over years and years, and then try and apply that to the sector that the company is in, and try and develop a model forward to guess roughly how much a company is going to earn, how much free cash flow a company is going to earn over the next 10 years. Usually go for about 7 years at the moment. And a very basic way of doing this is just apply the historical evidence. So if you've got a company that's growing its free cash flow at 5% a year, it's most likely that you'll see this company grow at 5% a year. But if the market has decided that that might not happen, and it's now underpriced by 10% or 20%, then you possibly have a 15% margin to grow into that company, or the market might decide eventually that the company will be worth more. And a big example of that right now for me is Bristol Myers Squibb is producing a ridiculous amount of cash, and I think lots of people are valuing it totally ridiculous outcomes. They're saying it's like $150 a stock or $90 a stock. Currently sitting at about 57, I think, and I think it's just going to take Bristol Myers Squibb to create a new drug that's going to sort of build enough revenue, and that to me that stock should go somewhere. But that's all based on opinion, and I think people were saying that about 5 years ago, and it still hasn't done it. So you got to remember, these things take time, and one of the biggest problems which we're finding right now is that people get bored really, really quickly. Whether that's TikTok, they need to make money in 15 seconds or not. But if you look at like Richer, Wiser, Happier and stuff like that, and Psychology of Money, you'll realize that these people sit in the red for years, like 10 years they sit in the red for on Amazon and stuff like that. Because imagine buying Amazon in 1999 when it's like $110 or something. You buy Amazon because you see it, you see that business model, you go, this is going to be a huge bookstore and possibly more. And then in March 2000 or 2001 is now down at $6. And you're like, oh crap, I've just lost 98% of my value and I don't know what to do. And that's it. You're going to sit at that. You're going to sit with that stock now for 10 years. I think it was like 10 years before it started to recover. And then again in 2014, 2015, which is a mistake other people are using as well, is that PE ratios at that time were in the hundreds, like Tesla is now. The PE ratios were in the hundreds and it looked extremely overvalued. And then it went in, became one of the biggest companies on the planet. So it's, you've got to sit and wait for a long time. And I'm new to it to that point because I've only been in it 2 years and I've been holding stocks for 2 years. And we just come out of a very, very good period. And a lot of people aren't understanding that if you buy like a speculative stock, which has got a good business model, expect it to go down, expect it to go really, really far down and for a very long and painful time. So, yeah. I've rambled a lot there again.
No, that's perfect,
just
mate.
Jumping subject to subject, really, I think.
No, it's solid, mate. It's all good information. You say about obviously being younger, you have more time to kind of compound these things. Would you recommend going for more? Say if you're, I don't know, 18, just started investing. Would you say go allocate a portion of your portfolio to kind of these speculative plays? Do you have a portion that you allocate to these kind of plays?
Yeah. So you should never. I'm only echoing this from various people, to be honest with you, because I personally don't like to give this advice because I'm or advice or even give these insights because one, I'm too new, and two, I've been through one crash which didn't last very long and I largely dodged it as well by accident. But so I have never had the test. I've never had that test on myself where my stock goes down 30, 40, 50% for 6 years. I've never had that test, and I've never had to sit through it and go, and that sell button, that's really easy to see. I feel like that sell button should have some sort of, like on Trading 212, they should have a code on it. And
two-factor verification or something.
Yeah, or someone, or you can put it like somebody who you trust has the password to that sell button, so it stops you from doing it. Or I don't know, something like you press it and it sends an electric shock to your balls, and then you go, well, this is what it's going to feel like. Do you want that again? So I don't know, something to just kind of stop you. Yeah. Because it's tempting. I've got a couple of stocks that just moved into the red now, and I've got, maybe I don't like them anymore. And I'm going, wait, why did you get into these stocks? And that's where it comes down to. So risk is still there with everything. And there's certainly more risky stocks, but they've all got a story. There's a few things that you can definitely miss out on and avoid that a lot of recent people have made the mistake on, such as a famous one, and any of the guys in Discord will love this one, is don't base your investment decision on a binary 101 event, because and that would mean that if the company that you want to own or do own is only going to be big because it reaches this significant deal, then it's probably not a good idea to invest in it. Workhorse comes to mind on that one, which absolutely tanked after it lost the USPS deal. And a lot of people lost so much money on that one. And that was all because it was just this binary event. But if you've got a company that is growing and you can see, and Tesla's a brilliant example of this one, because like I'm not invested in Tesla. I'm too late, essentially. That's how I feel. A lot of people would disagree with me on that. but I understand that this business has so far to go. You know, it's building 5 gigafactories or whatever it's building, which is going to produce 200,000 cars a year. They're not even up yet, so you can say that it's going to produce 800,000 cars by 2025. And you go, okay, now it's starting to get on the scale of the legacy automakers who are still very, very far behind. And then you say it's got mega pack factories coming out. And it's going to become a solar company, and the story's there, right? The story, and it's not just the story. It's not a single binary event. There's real growth going on. The business model is real. They are making real savings with the Megacaster and like building their cars in a totally different way to how original automakers used to make. So when you've got all of these things starting to happen, and that's what's happened to the share price recently. Everyone's seen that and gone, oh yeah, this is worth it. And now we might start to see a reversion because too many people have got excited about it. And you'll see it with all sorts. It's like crypto. Crypto is another one that there's a lot.
I think that's a very good segue, talking about Tesla, who's also owned by Elon Musk, into crypto. To be fair,
yeah.
So it's time to cut down the rabbit hole, shall we? What's your kind of experience with investing in crypto?
So I only invest in the big 3. Not Tether, Cardano would be my third one, and I've only got a tiny bit invested in that. But right now, I had a $5 in crypto in 2010. And I threw a laptop away. So there you go. There's probably 300 grand that's somewhere.
Yes.
I was just sitting in my uni dorm, just in halls, and I was just pissed, and I just went, I'll buy a little bit of this. I had this thing called Bitcoin
was it easy to do? Was it easy to buy back then?
No, it was complicated to learn. Was how I would describe it, because you also had to like buy it off a guide that was on the internet. It was kind of weird. It was kind of like, okay, so you go to a website, I can't remember what website it was, and you kind of put your credit card into the website, and it must have just been a guy the other side of the website who says, okay, what's your address? And you put your 88 key address, and you put that in, and then you see it pop in. And I remember all this. Happening. It's sort of a weird dream, because I just never went again. I kind of went, oh, that's too risky, and I never looked at it again. That laptop has gone in the bin a long, long time ago. And it kills me. It absolutely kills me, because I have no idea how much that was worth. And even my missus right now, who knew me at uni, we weren't together at uni, but she says she remembers me talking about it. And oh my god, if that's the case, then all my memories are true, and Brilliant. I'm not making it up, because I still don't know for sure. So yeah, there is that. So yeah, it wasn't hard, but it wasn't easy, and most of all, it wasn't understandable. Like, don't get me wrong, I didn't sit there and read the white paper of Satoshi Nakamoto. I wasn't doing that. I was just pissed, and someone was telling me like, "Oh, yeah, there's this new thing," and blah blah blah. And the websites were really bad in those days as well. If you like, they were like, there was just really awful GIFs and things on them, and you're like, "This is dodgy." And then of course the Silk Road was a big thing at that time as well, or at least a new thing. And I was going on there on Tor browser, so that was the old Star VPN. I don't know if I imagine it's still around. And I was using that, and I was going on Silk Road and seeing like RPGs for sale and things like that. And I was going, oh, this is what crypto's for. Okay. And that's what went through my head, because that was the story back then, was that what was in my head. And now we can disprove that. We can disprove that crypto can be used effectively as a tool for criminals. Some can, right? There are a couple which are claiming to be completely anonymous, but they don't work from the other side of it, of being able to trust whoever you're putting your money to. So there are some cryptos which claim to be anonymous, but the truth is, if you're a criminal, and we've had this discussion, tried to have the discussion again on the Discord quite recently, if you're a criminal and you take 1 million Bitcoin from a company because you've done a ransomware attack, if you take that money you then have to put that somewhere. So the money that you gain is all now on a ledger. It's on an open ledger. Everyone knows what wallet that's gone into. Yeah. So if you split it into 100 different wallets, it still has to, at this point, become, and even later when it doesn't have to, eventually when crypto just becomes a spendable asset, at that point, it has to go into the physical world at some point. Yeah. So let's forget that you have to convert it into fiat currency. You can go to you'll go to a Bitcoin. You'll send it to a different wallet to buy, I don't know, like say bread and milk. That's what I always say. It's like you want to buy some bread and milk because that's what it'll be like, and you send 50 sats over to buy some bread and milk. That then becomes physical. That wallet address will be attached to that shop. And so when you've gone to that shop, or if it's an online store, they will start to get your details. They will, if someone's looking for that $1 million in crypto, they will get your details from when it turns into a physical realm, into a fiat realm. So the idea of crypto being used for criminal stuff is, that's long gone. That idea is long gone.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's the whole nature of the blockchain is that it's traceable, at least with those. But yeah, I mean, do you feel we're living in a very weird time for crypto? Just at least, because to be honest, I see so many different cryptos and stuff out there. I mean, just really, really crappy ones. Just so many. You think that it's possible in the future we could have just like a massive correction and just shake off all these other little ones and the big ones kind of prevail at the end?
Yeah, exactly. Depending on where you go, I saw somewhere that said that there was 13,000 different types of crypto tokens now. Statista says there's about 5,000 to 5,500, something like that, which is probably more likely as far as the usable and tradable ones. When you've got stuff like Floki, Shiba Inu, and all that crap that are really just Bitcoin in disguise, that's when we're realizing that people are just buying them because they're trying to guess human behavior and buy and leave someone else in the dust. That's what they're trying to do. So that's bad. NFTs as well. I can't get behind NFTs in their current form. I can't understand why you can buy a GIF of Nancat for 700 grand, or what was the one I saw the other day? There was a 52-minute recording of farts that someone bought for $400, and you're just like, okay, right, I get it. It's new and exciting. Yeah, it's new and exciting, but they are useless. Other than something being a form of art, it is useless. And even Disney today decided that they're bringing out Toy Story NFTs. So that's like, okay. So as they start to flood the market, they're real value. They're gonna start to be real value, and all your other shitcoins are gonna be, or your other tokens are going to be absolutely useless. However, when we develop further, because we're in a very excitable phase right now, and with me and Bitcoin and Ethereum, I'm trading the 4-year cycle right now, about 600% up according to eToro right now. But I'm trading the waves at the moment, and eventually, and they say by January, there will be this blow off top of crypto. It'll go up 600% in a couple of days, and then you'll have to catch it at the top. I'm playing with money at this point, and I don't recommend anybody does it as well at all. It's totally for experts if you're going to do it. And I'm not an expert. I'm just an idiot that's going to press sell at a random time. That's what I'm doing at the moment. But if I was going to really invest in crypto and just try and forget about it for years, which I have done, we've just had 2 of my kids' birthdays, and they got quite a lot of money, and we could have bought anything with it. We bought Ethereum. We've just put a couple of £100 in Ethereum, and we're going, okay, never going to look at it again. Just put it on Coinbase. And, okay, that's their account. We're never going to look at it again. And it's weird to think, me as someone who is quite a heavy stock investor, that's what I went and bought. That's what I went and bought for.
That's crazy.
Was Ethereum. Yeah, it was kind of weird. But NFTs, right? I don't know how much you know. You're probably well into the NFT world, and you understand it.
I'm down the rabbit hole indeed.
Yeah, so it won't be news to you, but it might be news to people that might be listening that NFTs in their current form are probably pretty useless. Like, I think everyone agrees that as well. But NFTs on the Ethereum platform and on the Cardano platform, a little bit of Solana and Polygon added in between, so they can trade quicker or something, or make transactions quicker. When you have NFTs with the smart contracts idea on top, I think that's going to be world changing. I really, really do believe that's going to be completely world changing. I don't kind of say that in my videos enough, and it doesn't, or at least I don't get the message over enough. But I really do think it's going to be world changing. A lot of people say things about rock stars being able to earn a little bit off the money, or you'd be able to make royalties off your house. The example that I came up with, which has always stuck with me, is that you take a football stadium and all those 22,000 seats in the football stadium all have their own NFT attached. And what you could do as a season ticket holder is just buy an NFT, and that NFT pertains to that seat that you bought. And if you wanted to, for that week, give it out to your mates like we do now. We give our season tickets out to our mates and stuff like that. If you wanted to do that, they just take the NFT and you can write it into the contract of the NFT that you can lend it out for 1 week. And after that 7 days, it comes back to you. And like, I just think, how easy is that? You don't have to chase
completely game changing. Yeah.
It's mad, isn't it? Because you can like lend stuff to your mate, and there's no more like, oh, can I have that back, please? I'll get it back to you in a couple of weeks or something. There's none of that stuff. And like me in the private world right now, if I go and do a job and someone's not willing to pay me for whatever reason, or they don't, they've not, it relies on us at the moment for me to invoice them and go, hey, it's been 30 days. Can you send me some of that money? Nah, it'd be like, okay, we'll set up a smart contract. Here's your token for you, for me working for you. So I can say as myself, I'm going to contract myself out to somebody. I will give them the NFT, and as part of that NFT, it comes back to me in 30 days with 600 ETH on top of it. And you go, oh my God. Like, you think the possibilities of smart contracts within the crypto chain, it's just incredible. And it's going to make the world so much easier, so much more frictionless, and it just makes so much sense to me. I sit here and say, oh, this is what I believe in crypto. So what do we buy? And I go, I have no idea. Absolutely no idea. There's 13,000 coins out there which can all do the same thing. You got Bitcoin, which is happily just a transactional value, and they're probably going to say it's a hedge against stocks or hedge against inflation, or be like digital gold, which I totally see, and it does kind of work even now as a inflation hedge. It's very up for debate, but recently I've seen a lot of evidence to suggest differently. But then they can all be, this is the problem, they can all be written pretty easily. The guy who did Dogecoin writ it in 8 hours, and you go, okay, these coins need to get less human attraction for crypto to really take off. Like, all the crap ones need to just disappear, and nobody needs to own them, and nobody needs to be excited that they're going to go up and down all the time. That's what we're in. We're in this horrible kind of area where people are just trying to make fiat money out of their crypto very, very quickly. But if we can say, okay, let's buy and hold Bitcoin for years, buy and hold Ethereum for years, buy and hold Cardano possibly. I've just got a little bit just in case. I'm trying to make a little bit of money out of that one myself. But I only bet on Bitcoin and Ethereum right now, and much more in Ethereum if Bitcoin hadn't gone up so much recently. It's just one of them things. Like, people have a lot of their own opinions on it. What's your opinion? That's what I'd love to know.
Honestly, there's so many opinions to be had. There's so much stuff going on. There's so much noise, and there's so much. I mean, at least isolated with NFTs. NFTs, I probably got into, to be honest, from just hearing it through Gary V. I mean, I listened to him quite a lot beforehand, when he went quite heavy in it, I kind of understood a lot more just about it, and obviously what he's doing with his own ones as well. And I think the only way, well, is Gary V's, to be fair, so they're going to have value anyway, but he's adding on top that you can have this NFT and you get something for having this NFT, for holding this NFT. So his thing is you get access to his speaking events for about 4 years on the chart. There are ones that you can just literally call him up at any time, just for a FaceTime, just for holding this NFT. And before, I didn't know about them, but I really wanted to get one. They're probably about $2,000 to mint or something like that. And now they're sitting at, I think I looked a couple of weeks ago, about a 10 ETH floor, which is the minimum that you could probably buy one for right now. And again, it's all the crypto space and everything's just a rabbit hole. As soon as you go down, you're looking at everything, you're buying these random coins and stuff, and I feel like the big thing that I kind of learned was, monetary wise, is to play with money that you're happy going to zero, because if you don't, then that's the way loads of people get burnt. And that's if I was telling one piece of advice about that, would just be to play with money and you're happy to go zero.
Yeah, Gary V's a new one to me, but he's right on my street. I fucking love that guy. Like the way he talks, and he's so direct and so confident with everything that he says. And he's big into the NFT. I think he can go a bit too far. He can be a bit too pushy on it sometimes. But he's got exactly the only reason I've been listening to him recently is because he's got exactly the right idea. And people like him and Mark Cuban, even though they can be a bit insufferable at times, they were there for the .com bubble. They understood I think Gary Vee was also exactly the same. He saw the .com bubble happen when, and it's going back to stocks again. Trying to get your mind around how much people hate stocks during this time when during the .com bubble, during 2008, which I still don't really remember myself too well. The only memory of 2008 recession is I went and watched Gary Richardson, the comedian, and he did a quick joke at the start of it, and he went, "Oh yeah, we're in a recession, so we're all poor." And he goes, "But we're now actual poor. We've just gone from being rich to poor, and now we're just poor, and now we have to grow." And I didn't understand what he was talking about. I didn't have a clue what he was talking about, but he was making a joke about the stock market and how he was going to make money on the stock market by buying stupidly low. And I was like, it is Gary Richardson, isn't it? Gary Richardson, it's the comedian, like the one on 8 Hour 10 Cats.
Oh, okay. I know who you mean.
Yeah. It was him. And just seeing that and going, oh, right, okay. And I just have a flashback to that. But the idea is like during 2000 and during 2008, everybody hates stocks. And the mood of the world and the news and everything like that is this is really dangerous. In 2008, the financial system was always going to change. It was never going to be the same ever again. Everyone was going to lose all the money, and you shouldn't have it in stocks. You should have it in cash, and you should just wait and see what happens because you're going to lose your house, all that sort of stuff. And then we realized that in 2008, people like Gary Vee and Mark Cuban invested a hell of a lot in the bottom because they didn't believe the hype. And it's very easy for us to look back and go, okay, buy the dip and all that sort of stuff. And loads of people do it at the moment, but also thousands of people shit themselves when Tesla goes down 3% on Wall Street bets and stuff like that. And you go, you don't understand what it's going to be like when it really crashes. You don't understand how hard it's going to be and how that barrage of bad news and just horrible information is going to come to you, and you're going to go, I want to save my money because I don't know where it's going to be. And it's at that time you do have to invest, but I'm not entirely sure people understand just how bad the news and the information gets. All of TikTok will turn against, like, imagine all of TikTok turning against stocks, all of TikTok in at the end of 2022, if the 4-year cycle model is correct, all of TikTok will have turned against crypto. It'll be an absolute loser's bet. It'll have gone down 80%. Thousands of people would have lost money on it. and everyone will be selling out, and they'll say, "Oh yeah, I still made 50% of it, but I sold out because it was 50% off." And it's like, no, like if you really believe it, you're gonna keep going, and you're gonna hold on to it. But it's so hard, and I've tried to interview people myself that are much older than me, sort of in their 50s and 60s and 70s, who were in the stock market in the dot-com bubble in 2008. I've had people I've even interviewed people who were investing at the time of what's called the Nifty 50, which was about 50 stocks, which went absolutely mental in the 1960s. And there was stocks like Polaroid and Kodak and Xerox, I think one of them was. I don't know which stocks they exactly were. That's how bad the information on that time is. But it's the same story again and again and again. 1950s, 1980s, 2000, 2008. It's the same story. Everyone hated stocks, and it's very hard to get your head around it when we've had a 20-year bull market, that people will hate it because everybody loves it. Everybody loves stocks right now. I'm the same. I'm a product of that. I realize I'm an absolute product of the COVID crisis. And, it's dodgy. It's dangerous. Pretty scary, to be honest with you.
For sure.
Like, you can't see it, but I've got my portfolio number written on the wall in half in big red letters. It says 18,475. So I'm just expecting my portfolio to be that low, and I'm trying to do things to prepare myself for that sort of loss, because it will happen to everybody when it happens, and it will come. And I just don't know how many TikTokers are aware of that. Wow.
Yeah, no, it's crazy.
Like going on long ones today, right?
yeah, no, for sure. But do you think since the last kind of crash was during the time where we didn't have this widespread of information like at our fingertips, do you think if it was to happen now, it would be so much worse than it would have been before, just because of the speed of information that we can get?
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it? That's a comment I get a lot. We think like the education level wasn't as high in the year 2000. But the thing is, people are still stupid. People are still greedy, and people are still fearful. And the spread of information might be the reason why we had a straight V-shaped recovery. You know, that might be the reason. Like the COVID, I can't even believe it. Like the first thing I was thinking of when we know the announcement, Boris Johnson said we're all going into lockdown and all that stuff.
No, well,
a lot of people will. That'll be a moment, I think, that people have when, like, where you were when that happened. I think that'll be a moment in the future that people will sort of think of, like how, like the Twin Towers, where were you when the Twin Towers and stuff like that. I don't know, to be honest with you, but a lot of people do remember. And I remember sitting there, and I must have started crying, and there was like a bit of a weird feeling in the room. But in my head, I was going, "What's the stock market doing? What's the stock market going to do with this?" And I saw it, and I went, "Oh God!" I was glad because I pulled out. I managed to get out. I shouldn't have, because I think that's against everything that you should do, because you shouldn't be timing the market. But I got out because I was trying to get it all in my ISA on April 4th. And I actually missed out on a huge amount of growth because I waited till April 5th to get back in the market. I missed out on a huge amount of growth. And but it's interesting to think. And you talk to some other investors, and they were taking leverage. So there were some investors that I know that went out and got credit cards and, zero interest rate credit cards, and went, there is going to be a huge correction here back to the upside because of whatever. They really picked it. They really figured it out. And I just don't know how they saw it. But yeah, I spoke to someone the other day, actually, a woman who was a photographer in New York in 1999. And so it's just to get a mood of, trying to give you a mood of what people were thinking at that time. And I'm trying to get, because it's all the stock price, the short-term stock price is all based on human behavior at a certain point. And long-term, it's designed on earnings. Everything will eventually go to earnings. And short-term, you have to try and get in your head what people are thinking about. And this woman I know, she was a photographer in New York, and her boss said to her, look, the market is going crazy. This was 1999. The market's going crazy. If you've got a spare 2,000, put it in Cisco right now. That's what she said. And my ears pricked up then, because I started talking to her about stocks, and she was like, oh, well, I haven't really thought about stocks really. And I had this experience in 1999 where, like, my boss told me to put 2,000 on Cisco, and my ears went, whoa, what do you know? Tell me what you were feeling at that time. Tell me why you invested and where your shares are right now. She's like, I don't know where my shares are because they got taken off me because it was something like the Fidelity Group defaulted on them or something. I was like, so were you using leverage? She's like, yeah, I think my boss told me to, like, take out a bit of margin or something like this on it. And she didn't know what she was doing. And that was the feeling I got. She didn't have a clue that what she was investing in, or how she was investing in it. And that's what got me going, okay, where's the bubble? Yeah. So what's the bubble? Is it when loads of people are taking out margin and not investing in things because they don't understand them, which is kind of what's happening in the crypto market right now. People are just kind of buying crypto because that's what they're told to do, because Elon Musk has a dog. Like, are we serious? That's why we're buying cryptos these days? That's why we're buying cryptos these days, because Elon Musk bought a dog. So, and it all goes back again. It all goes back even further than that, to 1929, when I think it was Benjamin Graham who wrote it in his book. No, it wasn't. It was the other guy. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. But he said that he was in town in 1928 or early 1929, and he sat down to have his shoe shined, and the shoe shine boy told him what stock to invest in. The shoe shine boy. And he says at that point, he pulled all of his money out and he dodged the 1929 crash, which is the biggest crash we've ever had. And so I always try to think, I tried to look for the shoe shine boys. I tried to look around and go, and not because I'm going to get out of stocks, but because I'm going to just prepare myself mentally for the stocks. I'm a shoe shine boy. I can tell you that straight away. I'm from nowhere. I know nothing about stocks, and I'm sitting on YouTube telling people about stocks. It's just because I've dedicated a lot of time to it myself. So I'm fully aware I'm a shoe shine boy. So I'm an early shoe shine boy. And then I've been at work, and someone that's sat next to me doesn't know what I do, because outside of YouTube, nobody in my life knows I do this. Nobody knows. Like, nobody knows what I'm doing in my garage right now. Like, it's mad to think. So someone sits down to me and says, have you built any Dogecoin? And I was like, what? Why are you asking me that? And I was kind of taken back. I was like, do you know my YouTube channel? Like, kind of trying to suss it out, because I don't want to give it away, because it definitely don't work now, and I do a YouTube channel. And you just started talking to me about Dogecoin. And I was like, shoe shine boy, like the thing shoe shine boy went into my head. And what did Dogecoin do a couple of weeks later? Just absolutely tanked. And these signs, if you can see these signs of people, I hate to bring Tesla into this at this point, but there are a lot of experts on Tesla right now. There are a ton of people really expert on Tesla, 100%. And you're going, do you really know what they're talking about, or is it just you've watched a couple of YouTube videos and now you understand that Tesla's going to be so I worry that I'm not saying that I'm against it, and I don't even know, and nobody knows where the share price is going to go. I just don't like the risk to benefit ratio on that right now, and that's my only thing with it. I think Tesla is going to be an amazing company. The growth is all there, it's all priced, but it's definitely all priced in. And it's priced to perfection. So I'm worried about it, and for that reason I'm out, and I'll wait, because one day it will correct 80%. Not because it's a bad company, but because the rest of the market will. I'll just jump in then, because then I'll know that there's a reasonable risk to reward ratio there. I might miss out on thousands of pounds worth of growth in that time. I really might, but I don't care. That's what
exactly.
Ultimately investing. If you've read any books, Richer, Wiser, Happier, which is one of the latest books that probably came out early 2020, shows you different types of investors: value investors, growth investors, speculation. There's a lot of speculation investors in there, and they will tell you exactly. That book just tells you exactly how these people got rich, and most of it is just by playing the probabilities. That's mostly what they say. They say, look at the probabilities of whether you are going to lose money at this time. And this is you're going to love this, because I probably just talked for 5 minutes and it's going to come back round to exactly what you said at the start. It's totally planned. Yeah. Think about your risk. Try to lose less often. And when you do play, or when you do play with something like that, you've got to be aware that you're going to lose it all. You could lose all of it. And don't get yourself into debt, or don't get yourself into a position where the money that you could have had would have opened up another opportunity in your life somewhere. And don't let it put you out in the street or something like that. I know if I lose all of my money in the stock market that I've got in there right now, I will just have to go to work more. That's all I'll have to do. I won't lose my house or anything like that. But people who are speculating at this point with credit cards, and I know people are doing it. I know people have taken out loans to get in the market right now.
Yeah,
that's dangerous. There's absolutely no doubt that's dangerous, and that's another sign of a bubble. It's another big sign of a bubble.
For sure.
People start trading on leverage, and that was a big part of the dot-com bubble. People were taking out leverage non-stop. So to go back to the 99 bubble and that lady, she took out leverage. She didn't even understand it. She went on a brand new app at the time. Well, it was an app because they didn't exist then, but she went to a brand new broker at the time, of one of 6 that were invented that year. And I think she was on Fidelity at some point. But I mean, the parallels with now, they do worry me, because we've got Trading 212, Free Trade, eToro, all the rest of them.
Yeah.
Robinhood is the big one, isn't it? All those have popped up just out of nowhere. And they're leaving Vanguard and Hargreaves Lansdown in dust at the moment. And then you've got people trading on leverage. You've got options trading just going out of nowhere. CFD trading. It's scary. I think we're still early. I really do think we're still early to this party. I think if I was a trading man, if I was really looking to trade, I'd be in Tesla right now, because I think it will. I think it will double. Next 5 years, I think Tesla could double, but it will more than half if it does do that in 5 years. And well, somewhere between now and 5 years. That would be my probability head. If I was thinking about just based on the share price, the company will do amazing. It's just where the share price will be and how much people will be excited by it.
Yeah, for sure, mate. I think we could go on for hours about this. But there's always one question, just to round it up a bit, that I ask everyone. We've talked about some really, really interesting things. I'm happy for you to talk about it as long as we could. I might have to get you back on at some point, but there's one question I always ask everyone at the end of the podcast. It's just, if you could give one piece of advice to a younger person, say an 18-year-old, or even your younger self, what would that piece of advice be? Now you know all that you know.
See, that's a question for a successful person, and I don't consider myself successful in any way. I'm just a normal bloke who's just dipped into YouTube at sort of the right time, and I'm just having fun with it. And I don't have a lot of money. I don't have a particularly successful life or anything like that. I'm just getting by. But I do think that I would have been able to trace this path if I learned a lot more about business in my early years, and I really understood it. And not just at school, not just taking business studies or something like that, but really understanding profit, loss, and how the tax system works. And that's just me. I don't know if other people would see that as well, but
I'm sure loads of people would mirror that as well.
Yeah, it's just something I didn't learn, and if I had learned it, because I've had businesses before I became paramedic, and I failed. I didn't fail at them; they were very successful actually, and I just got bored. But it was more that they became too stressful because I didn't understand the basic understanding of profit, loss, and free cash flow, and that I think that's such a great tool. Learning personal business at a younger age, I think. Not like you have to go be an entrepreneur. You don't have to have a Lambo, and you don't have to be on TikTok waving loads of cash around. You don't have to deal drugs either, which is pretty successful these days. It's just learning the basics that you don't have to go to work. You don't have to feed a corporation to get money. There's other ways, and it's something not that you enjoy, but that you're good at. That's the other thing is like, you don't necessarily have to enjoy. Everyone wants to like go out and be a TikToker or play football or something like that, and do something that they enjoy. But you don't have to. Just do something you're good at, and everything else will come. That's about it, really.
Yeah, that's absolutely perfect, mate. Thank you so much for coming on. I'm sure we've
thank you so much for having me, Jay. It's been a great chat.
Yeah, no, for sure, mate.
I've kind of just vented I'm sure. For an hour. That's all I've done. It's just kind of
you're welcome. I'm glad. Anyway, mate, I will stop this right here. If people want to find you online, whereabouts should they look?
I've got the YouTube channel, Paul Briscoe. That's just personal finance, and I just make loads of dick jokes all the time. And then Instagram, Briscoe_investing, where again, I just kind of make a lot of dick jokes on there. But there is mini information in between that, and it's just good fun. It's just good fun, and loads of people message me and stuff all the time. We have a good laugh.
And you said about your podcast and the Discord as well.
Oh yeah, should really mention that, shouldn't I? Yeah, the Discord is called the Briscoe, but I don't know how you find it. I think you have to find it on a link underneath.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll find a way to put it in the bio somewhere.
Yeah, and the Plain Footsie podcast. That is our new little thing. We've got a couple of hundred, probably 500, or might even be 1,000 subscribers. I'm not even actually sure.
Brilliant.
And that's starting to grow. It's just us chatting for an hour about stocks and personal finance that week, and again, we just have a good laugh, and loads of people talk to me like they listen to it while they're doing their dishes and stuff like that. I'm like, what? Really? That's so cool. It's just me and two lads. We just have a mess around and laugh, and it's great fun.
That's brilliant. Awesome, pal. Right, I'll just stop this one here. 2 seconds.